Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us again today. We have Jenna Lalani with us, and she is a family and estate lawyer practicing here in the Lower Mainland. Thanks again for being with us today.
Of course, always happy to.
Today, we wanted to touch on a topic of financial planning documentation. So specifically wills, estate planning, wills, representation agreements, powers of attorney, your trifecta of financial planning documents. So tell me why they're important, and tell me why someone would have to come to you as a lawyer as opposed to a notary to prepare these and have them executed.
Yeah, so super important documents to have. I always say there's a checklist. You own your own home, you have children, and have a pet, you have a business. Obviously not all those things, but if there were one of those things that you've answered, definitely important. At any point in your life, it can be done, it can be redone. But, your will talks about what happens to all of your property, who would be the guardian of your children, who would take care of your pets or your business if anything were to happen to you. And these, the other documents like a power of attorney and a representation agreement, they're put in place as, what many people know as a living will. So things that can be done in your lifetime. So you appoint someone to take care of your money and your finances, and then you appoint someone to deal with your health. So if you didn't have capacity, who would be that person looking out for you? It's all these things to think about because it could happen. Having a will in place, it's for the inevitable. I mean, you have your property, you have everything. And I joke around and I say that, my profession deals with all the bad things that may happen to you, a divorce or dying, but it's making sure that the right things are in place so that you're comfortable and you know what's going to happen. You're okay. You're leaving things in good hands and you're comfortable with that. So, people can get it done through a notary or a lawyer. Why someone would have to come to a lawyer? If there's disabled children, you have disabled beneficiaries, they need trusts, and you need trustees involved to organize the trust, plan the trust, pay out the trust. And so we calculate, we get all the information and figure out, okay, they're getting disability payments. How can we make sure that they don't affect the disability payments by getting this inheritance? We really plan out to make sure that your beneficiaries are taken care of the way that you want them to be taken care of. So one instance, setting up trusts would be a huge factor in hiring a lawyer to do your estate planning, as notaries don't have that capability. But things that get more complex when you have business or you need to do something in a more complex manner would be a reason why to have a lawyer take care of your estate planning. And we're able to, go to court and deal with it in the event that, if you were to pass, your will was contested, we're able to take that on as a lawyer, whereas notaries don't have that ability to. So I'm not saying I'm better than one. I'm just saying that in instances where things are more complex, it is beneficial to hire a lawyer and have a lawyer do that.
What would you say to someone who says, I'm single, no dependents, I don't own a home, my estate's super simple. Why do I need any of this?
Sometimes they say, okay, don't do it, but don't do it. There's intestacy laws for a reason. So if you don't have a will in place, you're deemed to have died intestate, which means not having a will. And so it sets out by law who it goes to. So first, if you don't have any dependents or a spouse, it'll go to your parents and then your siblings and your nieces and nephews. And you might say, look, my brother doesn't know how to deal with money. Not saying from my own experience, of course. Hopefully he never watches this. But you just don't know where in the line. You could be on a road trip with your parents and that's who you're thinking it's going to go to. And all of a sudden, nobody's around, and then it goes further and further down the list. So you never know who it's going to. And if you're okay with that, then great. I just don't think 100% of the people are okay with.
Yeah, I always say, if you get to, go somewhere and watch whoever's left to deal with all of this after you're gone, and they're, someone that's close to you. It may not be a family member or through a bloodline, but it may be a friend,
So when we do our estate planning and you come in, there's the initial appointment, and right now during COVID, it's over Zoom, but there's the initial appointment where we talk, we figure out what you want, how the best way to, handle your estate. We're trying to make sure that, when things are passed to whoever you're passing it to, what's the best way to, not necessarily get it tied up in probate, or how can we keep the costs down on probate fees? What's the best way to really handle that? And so it's a real appointment, like estate planning. We're really trying to figure out the best way for you, making sure that everything is taken care of. Who are you appointing to look after it? Making sure that everything is in place nice and neat for that executor. So we have a detailed book saying, look, let's put all of your information in here. Let's keep all of your passwords. Let's deal with your digital assets, where people don't realize that, we have pictures on Facebook. We have our iCloud accounts. We have our, passwords for our banking online. Like, there's so many different things that deal with digital assets. And that's something that we include and we set up nice and neatly for your executor. So that way it's just a book.
Heard with digital assets, a lot of us are using cloud-based programs that are based in the US. So even as an executor or power of attorney, that is given, or that power is granted under Canadian law, so that you would have to apply for special consideration to access assets. So say you're a photographer and you have an asset library, but you have it in Dropbox. Well, that's an American-based program. So even as a power of attorney, you don't have the right to access that for that person.
Yeah. And so it's really speaking with you and figuring out the best way to manage your assets and your digital assets, of course, to make sure that they're able to be pulled out, or there's no complexity when it comes to getting them or needing them on the estate side. So dealing with probate afterwards, there's no issues. And so that's why it's really important to sit down with a professional. There's all these programs or do yourself wills, but are you really doing it properly? And so, like you said, there's so many different factors to think about, and there's so many ways to do it, but getting a professional is the best way to make sure that it's done properly.
And you offer, same with your other agreements that we've talked about, that free initial consultation?
Yeah. So I talk to people and I give them that initial consultation, and I say, look, on a very high level, this is what you're having, this is what you're thinking, this is the best way to put it into place. And I talk about how to put it into place. And then we go through the process of, planning how to put it into your will. So it is like an initial consult, because you don't necessarily pay until after the will's completed and we sign and we go through all of it. But at the same time, that initial consult isn't, it's not the 30 minutes or an hour of figuring out the best way to deal with your assets and then not getting a will.
Yeah.
It's very on the high level side. This is what we're going to do. This is how we can do it. And then figuring out the best way to do it once you've decided that that's how you want your estate planning to go. Awesome.
Well, thank you for sharing of the information today. I'm sure someone out there watching needs to contact you, because I think they say over 50% of Canadians do not have these financial planning documents in place.
Yes, a really high stat that let's try and lower that.
Yeah. So I'll put your contact information in the show notes, but if anyone that is watching would like to reach out to Jenna, please do so. And Jenna, again, thank you for taking your time to be with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. And we'll see you all soon. Bye for now.